Karen builds a fence on my property and it backfires. Before I dive into this story, let me set the stage. It was a quiet Sunday morning and I was outside admiring my well-kept yard when I noticed something shocking along my property line. To my disbelief, a newly constructed fence was intruding onto my land, a boundary I've maintained for years. Out of nowhere, Karen had built a fence right on my property. I walked over slowly, wiping my hands on my jeans as I examined the structure. It was clear this wasn't a simple misunderstanding. The fence, built haphazardly and without permission, cut deep into my space and defied all reason. I felt a surge of anger at the sheer audacity of her act. I knew my rights, and I silently vowed to set things right. Before I could speak further, Karen appeared at the edge of the fence. With wild eyes and a sneer, she shouted,
"This is for the greater good of our community. You're too ignorant to appreciate progress."
I stepped forward and demanded, "Karen, what do you think you're doing? This is my property!" She exploded in a manic outburst.
"My property? You're living in a dump. I'm improving this neighborhood, and if you don't comply, I'll demolish your pathetic yard and make it look like mine."
The tension was palpable, every word dripping with irrational fury. I took a deep breath and contacted the local property inspector. Soon after, a police car and a municipal officer arrived on the scene to secure evidence. The officer stepped out and initially fixed his gaze on Karen's unhinged display as he surveyed the fence. "Ma'am, are you asserting this is a community project?" he asked, his tone suggesting he might side with her. Karen screamed defiantly,
"Absolutely! I'm doing what's necessary."
The officer then turned to me and asked, "Sir, is this your property?" I affirmed, explaining that the fence was built without my consent and clearly violated property lines. After a long pause, the officer declared, "This fence encroaches on private land, ma'am. Constructing it without permission is illegal." Karen's face twisted with fury. Later that day, the case went to court. During the trial, compelling evidence was presented, and the judge ruled decisively in my favor. Karen was ordered to dismantle the entire fence immediately and pay a hefty fine of $5,000 plus substantial court costs. The verdict also mandated that she cover additional damages for the stress and inconvenience caused. Prior to the trial, police had secured the scene and documented every inch of the encroachment, ensuring that justice would be thorough. I inspected the fence one last time and said with quiet satisfaction, "Looks like justice has been served." Karen stormed off in defeat, her tirade silenced by the law as she was forced to remove her fence and face the full consequences of her actions. The incident has since become a cautionary tale in our neighborhood, reminding everyone that entitlement will always be met with the full force of the law.